Hi, I'm Doug Sovereign from KCBS Radio. Welcome to a forum of candidates running for 2 seats on the Hercules City Council. Today's forum is sponsored by the Contra Costa Elections Division, Contra Costa Television, the League of Women Voters of Diablo Valley, and the League of Women Voters of West Contra Costa County. We're recording these roundtables here in the studio of Contra Costa Television. The candidates are Alexander Walker-Griffin, Chris Kelly, Dion Bailey, Jamila Smith-Folds, and Jagdeep Singh, who was not able to attend. We drew lots before the show to determine the speaking order, so we will begin with Alexander Walker-Griffin. First question I'll ask each of the candidates, why are you running for this seat, and what would make you the best choice for the voters?
Okay, well, thank you, Doug. I'm running for Hercules City Council to give back to the city that I grew up in. I've lived in Hercules since I was 6 years old, and I'm 20 years old, soon to be 21 next week. And I really believe that Hercules needs a perspective of someone who can give you all 3 constituencies groups perspectives, being that of an elementary schooler, middle schooler, and high schooler. And if you want to be the change that you want to see, it's time that you take that action. A lot of times we have people who are willing to speak about problems but aren't willing to try to tackle those solutions and put themselves in the limelight to try to give back to their cities. And then also, in addition to that, I want to be an inspiration to men and women of color who don't have too many inspirations outside of sports and music. Pretty much, I want to be someone that a kid can say, hey, that guy did that, and I can reach for that too. So that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Chris Kelly, same question. Why are you running, and what would make you the best choice?
Well, I'm running for re-election. I currently serve on the City Council this year as mayor. I've been on the council since 2014. Prior to that, I came to nearly every single City Council meeting for 4 years. I served on the Finance Committee and also did some volunteering at City Hall. So I know what's going on. I know the issues. I understand. I have a great deal of expertise, serve on boards outside the council, and I pay a lot of attention to our fiscal stability and our public safety. And I think I am the best candidate for that. We have a job that needs to be finished, and I'm the person to do that.
All right, thank you. Dion Bailey, why are you running, and what would make you the best choice?
My name is Dion Bailey, and I'm running to continue my service to the city. I am the chair of the Hercules Planning Commission, and where I've served since 2013. I have been an advocate for the city and for the citizens of the city, and I want to continue doing that. Outside of that, I've also served in the city on various committees and served in community groups. My plan for the city is to continue our path towards financial sustainability, to enhance public safety, and to ensure that development continues in a way that serves the citizens of Hercules.
Thank you. And finally, Jamila Smith-Folds, why are you running, and what would make you the best choice?
I'm running to continue service. Service is my passion. I've been serving the parents of Hercules for 8 years as a parent volunteer. I have made it my life's journey to give back to the community at different levels. I've done that with being a stay-at-home mom, a homeschool teacher. I've given back to the community being a parent volunteer at the public schools, elementary, middle, and high school. I've given back by being a teacher. So every part of me is service, and this is just that next evolution and that next step. What makes me a good candidate? Boots on the ground. I'm out in the community every single day. I'm at the post office, I'm at Lucky's, I'm walking, I'm talking to people, and I'm listening to people. And I'm determining what their needs are in Hercules, what they want Hercules to be. And I think that I could give that to them.
All right, thank you. Back to Alexander Walker-Griffin. What do you think is the #1 thing that Hercules needs to fix or do better?
Well, the #1 thing that I think Hercules needs to do better is, one, market itself as a destination city. Oftentimes I tell people I live in the city of Hercules, and I get, well, where is that? And Hercules has a lot to offer, but it just doesn't necessarily have that little bit of oomph to really showcase it. We have a lot of mom and pop businesses that are here really trying to make something of themselves and make that American dream that so many are trying to fight for these days. But when there's a city that doesn't have too many marketing strategies, it makes it kind of difficult. In addition to that, I think we need to improve public transportation in and out of the city. I did a little experiment. I wanted to find out how would you get from Hercules to Vallejo by a bus. You have to take the bus all the way down to El Cerrito, and then you have to catch, the Soul Trans, and then you pass right through Hercules and get to Vallejo. So I think those are the 2 most important issues that Hercules really needs to fix. Marketing itself as a destination city, because a lot of people really want to move here, and a lot of people are trying to move here, and improving ways to get in and out of the city.
Chris Kelly, what do you think is the #1 thing that Hercules, and feel free to respond during your answers to things other people say, but #1 thing that Hercules needs to fix or do better?
Hercules needs to complete its regional intermodal transit center down by the waterfront. This is something that was started as an idea over 10 years ago. We're in the process of doing that. The private developer is now developing up to 1,300 units of housing, but the city needs to go and get the train to stop. We're working strongly on that. Get the bus to come down. I think that will be soon, and eventually bring the ferry. And then when we do that, that will not attract not only other residents, but it'll also attract visitors to come to Hercules with a combination of experiential retail that we have downtown. So that's important. And in addition to that, we need to keep an eye on and maintain our fiscal stability. That's extremely important.
Dion Bailey, what do you think the number one thing Hercules needs to fix or do better?
The number one thing I think Hercules needs to fix is financial sustainability. The last two councils have done a great job of getting us from major debt to where we have a small deficit this year. But financial sustainability is a major issue. We are a low property tax city, so that's not a very good source of revenue for us. We get about $400 to $500 per household on property taxes, and then we have to increase sales tax, and that is done through development. So what I'd like to see us do is to, on the few remaining parcels that we have, look for ways to increase our retail components so that we can generate a sales tax base to pay for services like police services, services for schools, et cetera.
And Jamila Smith-Fultz, number one thing that Hercules has to fix or do better?
The number one thing Hercules needs to fix is Hercules is considered a bedroom community. In a bedroom, like the bedroom in your home, only certain things happen. We need to be a kitchen community where everyone gathers in the kitchen. Everyone gathers around and they talk and they communicate with each other, and there's transparency in the kitchen, and there's family in the kitchen. Hercules needs to do better bringing both of our communities together. There's the city, and then there's the school community. I want to be that bridge to bring them both together. We need our students to be invested in our community, and our community to be invested in our students, because they really are the future of Hercules. They're the sustainability. They're the ones that are going to use that transportation now and in the future.
Mayor Kelly brought up the Intermodal Transportation Center, and I want to ask about that. I mean, once upon a time, there was talk of BART coming to Hercules, and instead now there's the whole waterfront transit center development. How do you think that development is working out? Do people use that? I mean, obviously they'll use it more once it's finished, but is it something that is going the way it's supposed to go for the city?
From my opinion, I think that it is going the way that it should be going to. Having an Amtrak in Hercules would, like Mayor Kelly said, bring in a lot of business and a lot of revenue into the city and bring in more attention to it. Because if you think about it, Hercules has a monopoly over the area. When you come off the Carquinez Bridge, the first city that you land in is Hercules, and when you come off of Highway 4, Hercules is the very first place that you come into. I think that the development is going pretty well and it's going pretty strong, but we need to make sure that it keeps going in a positive direction.
And Mayor Kelly, if and when that's finished, do you think it's succeeding in the way it was envisioned, that it becomes the sort of waterfront transit destination?
I think so. It's transit-oriented development. Absolutely. If the Capitol Corridor can't stop, then a lot of people would like to take that to their jobs, you know, and maybe go to Emeryville or to Oakland. Also, getting the buses to come down there, possibly the links eventually would be great so people can commute to the city, and eventually the ferry. We won't get the ferry right away, but I think we are really moving toward our vision, and that'll be very important. It'll really put Hercules on the map and also help to solve some of the problems of getting cars off Highway 80.
What are your thoughts on how that development is proceeding, and whether you see it anything different that you would do if you were on the council?
Planning Commission is working hard on the development. We've got 3 blocks approved. Block N is currently under construction. Q and R are further down, and they're going to start construction shortly thereafter. So we'll have basically 3 buildings kind of coming up out of the ground simultaneously. The waterfront and the transit center is important. As the mayor just said, the train station will come first. Costs, I've heard estimates about $50 million, whereas BART is in the $1 billion price range. So a lot more affordable for the city to get that done through grants, et cetera. Ferry station is nice. It's going to be out there, but it's a little bit further out. But those things will help with what some of the other candidates have said, which is to make Hercules a destination city. So it'll serve Herculeans as they're going to work every morning, and it'll also be a regional transit hub so folks can come in and connect to other sources. We do have the station, the park and ride area up at the BART station, but folks can still come down via bus, and we're working on a system to get them from that parking station down to get a bus turnaround to have buses take folks, set the train, take folks on to their final destination.
Do you think that it's working as planned, and anything you would do differently with that development?
Anything to make it easier. Ease is a necessity. If you you're dropping a child off, then you've got to rush out because you've got to get to that interstate before it gets busy, because you know when it gets busy, and then you know that's going to back you up 15 minutes, and then that's going to increase your stress level. And then if something happens and you've got to get back to that child at a certain time, ease. Hercules needs to make it easy. Make it easy for the parents, make it easy for the non-parents, make it easy for the grandparents, make it easy for the community in general. I take my husband to the turnaround station every day. He catches the links and he goes. Ease. There's an ease to it. So if we can increase the ease, then we increase the love in the community, because then the tension goes way down. So if we can do that, I'm happy.
Perhaps the biggest challenge for the Bay Area, other than maybe transportation, is housing. And I know that Hercules is doing fairly well in housing, but not quite achieving goals for affordable housing. What should Hercules do to create more affordable housing?
I think for Hercules to do, we should be going up rather than out. And what do I mean by that? Having more apartments come in that way, that they're a little bit more cheaper than trying to pay a mortgage off every single month. In addition to that, working with regional agencies and seeing how we can make sure that Herculeans aren't priced out. So what I would like to do is, hopefully, if Costa Hawkins is repealed, look at the lowest income bracket in Hercules and then base rent based off of that. So that way we can have more people come in and more people won't be being able to getting pushed out. Because I've talked to former Hercules residents that have said it's just too expensive for me and there's no incentive for me to live here. So I think that's what we need to do. Base it up. Look for ways that we can base rent off the lowest common denominator of income in the city.
Mayor Kelly, what are your thoughts on how you achieve greater affordable housing in the city?
It's really, really tough. Do you know right now to build an affordable housing unit costs $500,000 a unit? That was discussed recently at the mayor's conference, so it's really, really tough. We have to find a way to get developments built that will, perhaps condo developments that will help people who can't afford a single-family home or a townhome to come and be here. It's hard because there's the reality of how much it costs a developer to build. And I would say that Hercules is almost entirely built out. We have some residential in the pipeline now, but we're going to be finishing that pretty soon.
Affordable housing, what does Hercules do to generate more?
It's tough. We do have a development where within the development agreement, there's a requirement the developer build X number of affordable housing units, but as the mayor said, it's very expensive. Building up sounds good, except for our streets are only so wide, so they can only take so much traffic. So Bayfront, that's one of the challenges. We have 4-story buildings down there. Generally speaking, the lower level is residential, is commercial retail. Upper units are apartment style or condo homes at the discretion of the developer. But again, it puts more traffic on the streets. So we've got to kind of determine how we're going to do that. High density is toward the west side of Hercules. As you go east, you tend to have lower density housing, but it is a challenge. Apartments may or may not be the best way to solve that. We do also have within the city some inclusionary housing units which are managed by the county at this time, part of the old RDA process.
Affordable housing, how do we bring more to Hercules?
They're telling you it's a tough issue. I lean to their expertise that it's a tough issue, but we are a sister city. You have a city on either side of Hercules. So if there's a way to come together and say it's not just having affordable housing in Hercules, but having also retail in Hercules. So those people who have the affordable housing on the outside of Hercules still are able to come into Hercules and spend that money like we go to our sister cities and spend that revenue. So I think it's a bigger issue than just with Hercules because we're so tight that it's an issue that can expand itself out. But I would love to have more affordable housing in Hercules. I think it's a benefit to our community because it brings different people in. And it allows us to give back to different people.
You talked about how proud you are of Hercules and that people should know more about it. How do you balance the pressures? I mean, terrible traffic, lack of housing, cost of living that we all feel in the Bay Area and maintain the character that makes you feel so special about Hercules?
The reason why I always feel so special about Hercules is because it has that true Americana sort of vibe when you're around it. You know, like I said, I've lived in Hercules since I was 6 years old, so a lot of the people that I went to elementary school with, I was up on the graduation stage with, and I like that sort of impression that Hercules leaves on you, because it makes you want to come back and it makes you want to have a family there, because you see people walking and jogging all the time and giving you that real sense of community. A lot of cities, I'm not going to say which ones, you don't see that. You don't see people jogging. You don't see people walking their dogs on a regular basis. You don't see people walk past you say, hey, how are you doing? You don't have too many recreational programs. You don't have too many opportunities for youth and families to develop themselves and really get acquainted with their neighbors on opposite ends of the city. That's why I like Hercules so much. And in addition to that, we have teachers who care. We have community members that care, and we have teachers that are involved with our students that really have a lasting impact. I know that because I graduated from Hercules High School in 2015, Loney Elementary School in 2008, and I don't remember when I left Hercules Middle School to walk on the opposite side, but having those sort of impacts on me really left a positive feeling of Hercules.
So how difficult is it to maintain that character of the town, given all the pressures we have today in the Bay Area, the economy, the transportation, the housing?
I don't think it's too difficult because Hercules is much more affordable than other cities like San Francisco or Berkeley or down by Silicon Valley. Hercules is unique. You know, it's a relatively new community. 40 years ago, there were only 40 people, maybe 500 people living in Hercules. Now there are 26,000. And we are a city that's not too rich, not too poor. We are ethnically diverse, and no one group dominates in our city, and people really are involved and really do care. Plus, we have the links. You know, I sit on the board of WestCat, and that links, I've taken that before, goes directly to San Francisco. It is our best kept secret. You can get into San Francisco and feel relaxed and go to work. So it's a wonderful place to be in Hercules.
She mentioned, and it's true, that the Hercules used to have a handful of people, then it got to 25,000. Now it's kind of plateaued for a while. But how do you maintain that while managing all the different pressures that there are?
Hercules has a history of having citizen involvement. Monday night we had a planning commission meeting for a new development, Sycamore Crossings. We had a full house. The citizens were there to express what they are looking for in development, what they don't want in development, and we incorporate that into our design for new construction. So that particular developer got some feedback and has to go back out and do some more work. We were one of the first cities to use form-based code. It took us a while to get it actually building, but that Bayfront was is a product of that. The citizens picked out types where form over function was kind of the model there, and we have done that, and it's doing well. I believe when it comes out of the ground, it's going to be a beautiful project. Folks have mentioned we have neighboring cities that we kind of work with. Unfortunately, too often our residents leave the city of Hercules to go shopping, et cetera, and we need to teach them to stay right there. And we do that by providing more retail for our citizens and encouraging them to shop local. We're doing that through some community events currently. We had a social bite just a couple days ago. A few weeks before that, we had bottles and bites. But we're trying to get folks to learn to stay in the town.
You're raising 3 kids in this community. How do you maintain the character of the town while building more housing, managing the traffic, et cetera?
I was born and raised in Alabama, so Andy Griffith is in my blood. So Hercules is that version. Hercules is the West Coast Andy Griffith to me. And when you can walk down the street and you know your neighbor and you say hi and you know the little kid and they know that you're a safe adult and they can talk to you, that's kids on their bikes, kids at the park. You maintain it by creating it. If you want it, it's there. Hercules has the bones for it. We're a city of love. We really, really are. We're the city of hello. I want everyone to say hello to each other in Hercules. That's the benefit of it. For 180 days during the school year, I go to the school, stand right there at the beginning and say hello to every single kid that comes in, because you can't learn if you don't feel loved and appreciated. So if we can take that outside of the school community and take it into the city, and we speak to everyone that we see, then we maintain that Andy Griffith. We maintain that Hercules is full of love and compassion. It's fantastic.
So what's the one thing, and I think this will probably be our last question before we get to closing statements, if you want to save something for closing statements, but what is it that the qualification that you're going to bring that people should vote for you? They'll be so happy to have you on the council because of what you're bringing to the table.
Okay. Even though I am young, like I said, my 21st birthday is next week, I do have experience in governing. I sit on the California Community Colleges Board of Governors, which is the governing board for all 115 California community colleges and now 73 districts in the entire state. I was appointed by Governor Brown at the tender age of 19. And recently, we completed our biggest project, arguably, the board has ever done, which is completing the nation's first 100% online community college. So even though I am young, I have experience working with legislatures and even the governor's office on very tough issues, and especially in places where there's been uncharted waters. It's been pretty difficult working on something that no one's been doing before, but in addition to that, I know what that means to serve, and I know what it means to serve others. I serve in the California National Guard right now, and I'm proud of my service, and I want to continue it at the local level and give back to the place that I grew up in.
Mayor Kelly, what character trait do you bring that makes you the strongest candidate?
I have experience in local city government. I can understand what Hercules can and cannot do. I've been on the council now for 4 years. I know all of the players in our city and in the West Contra Costa area. I know what our limitations are. I understand our low property tax situation and our challenges for getting more revenue through retail and other means. And I'm ready to address all of these problems. I think it's most important that you have somebody here in this office who has experience with our city of Hercules, who knows what's going on and can face those challenges and move forward.
Dion Bailey, same question. What's the one thing you're going to bring to this job that people will be glad they voted for you?
I think I bring leadership, as demonstrated as my time on the Planning Commission, and also experience. I also understand the issues in Hercules. I know what we can and can't do. I understand our limitations financially. I also started my political side in college. I served on student government there, over at Embry-Riddle University in Arizona. What I would like to bring is just a clear vision of where we can go. Taking what citizens have said in the past, via charrettes, et cetera, and helping bring that into reality at the City Council.
And finally, Jamila Smith-Foltz, I'm sorry you always went last, but it was luck of the draw. What's the one thing you're going to bring to this that, something you want people to know about you that would make you such a valuable member of the council?
Mommy. A mommy is in their home. A mommy is the mayor. The mommy is the president. The mommy is the organizer. The mommy is the nurse. The mommy is the teacher. You get all of that. If you elect me, you get a mommy. You get someone who can manage. You get someone who can listen, someone who's tender but tough, and someone who knows that your best interest and your highest and best self is what I'm always after. So I want Hercules to be its highest and best self.
All right, thank you all. Thank you to our candidates for answering some of these important questions. That's all the time we have, I'm afraid. But now each of you will have 1 minute to make a closing statement, and we will begin in reverse order. We're going to start, you get to go first this time, Jamila Smith-Foltz.
I just want the residents of Hercules to know that I want to serve. Strength in the community is my passion. I believe in the Hercules community. I believe in its residents. I believe in its students and its neighbors and the neighborhood itself. Transparency and communication are some of my strong points. I have a vision for Hercules, and I want to bring us all together. And I'm in love with our city, and I want our city to be in love with us. So it's to bridge the community together.
And now Dion Bailey.
First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting the forum today. There's been different views discussed about ways to take Hercules forward, and I think the best solution will involve the citizens through forums, et cetera. I am running on a platform of enhancing public safety, financial sustainability, and ensuring that we meet our development needs going forward. I am committed to transparency in local government. What do I bring? I bring leadership. I've demonstrated that before. I also bring experience as a manager, as a small business owner, and my goal is to represent Herculeans, to advocate for them. Again, my name is Dion Bailey. I'm running for City Council. I hope to earn your vote in November. My website is www.dion4hercules. That's Dion, D-I-O-N, the number 4, Hercules.com. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Chris Kelly, your closing statement.
Yes. My name is Chris Kelly. I've been serving on the council since 2014. I'm currently serving as mayor, and I want to finish the job that I've started on the council, which is to see through a number of our developments. We've finished with the Aventine, with Victoria Crescent, Muir Point. We now have some other developments coming on to Sycamore Crossing, continuing down with the Bayfront and the Regional Intermodal Transit Center. I understand all of those issues very well and am equipped to deal with them. I am also honest, forthright. I think independently. Sometimes I agree with my other council members, and sometimes I don't. And they respect me for my independent views. I have the entire support and endorsement of my city council members, of several past ones, of all of the West Contra Costa mayors, of Congressman Mike Thompson, State Senator Nancy Skinner, and Colin Coffey of East Bay Regional Parks. I want to continue what we have started, and I will protect our city.
Thank you so much. And finally, Alexander Walker-Griffin.
Thank you. I'm running to give back to the city that I grew up in. Like I said, I know what it means to serve. I took an oath to protect and defend citizens of California and the citizens of the United States of America. Working on the Board of Governors, I sat down with different constituency groups. I've sat down with students who are undocumented, students that have escaped third world countries, single mothers, people that have just gotten out of prison. And I'm willing to take that experience down to Hercules and make sure that everyone has a voice in the city council, from the kids to the elderly. In addition to that, I've received the support of the California Democratic Party, leaders such as Assemblymember Tony Thurman, State Senator Kevin De Leon, Board of Equalization Member Fiona Ma, California Insurance Commissioner Dave Jones, and many others. And I would kindly and respectfully love to have your support on November 6th. Right now, up and down the nation, we are experiencing turbulent times. We've had levels of government. We've seen things at levels of government that we've never seen before, and it's time to bring new leadership into cities, states, and the rest of the United States. And I'm trying to do that by giving back to my community. I've been involved in my community since I was 6 years old, and I want to be a new leader and an inspiration to others in my community.
Well, thank you all so much. That concludes our forum of candidates running for the office of Hercules City Council. And once again, joining us today, the candidates are Alexander Walker-Griffin, Chris Kelly, Dion Bailey, and Jamila Smith-Folds. Jagdeep Singh was not able to be with us. For more information on these candidates, please visit the website votersedge.org. To view this broadcast online, go to www.cocovote.us. I'm Doug Sovereign, political reporter at KCBS Radio. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to vote on November 6th.